Heather.
I'm AJ, and this is our story. So about a year ago, our life totally changed. We've been married for 4 years, coming up this year, and before God, it was horrible. We basically went to church and just checked the box, but we did not really participate, like really just get involved in the church. We didn't. We just kind of just got lost in the numbers, and then basically about 4 years building up of that, it just was really really bad. Our marriage just kind of fell apart. We kind of lost sight of why we got married. I know I have, for instance, basically stopped putting her first, stopped really putting God first in our marriage, and just kind of went after my own personal endeavors, and basically business was number one, and that was it. I thought that's what was important to build a good marriage and a good. I thought you just provide, and that was it. And then so finally, one day, basically, she just had enough, and it was literally the day that I had enough, and I overdosed, and because I was just done. And that was the day that she had enough as well. And what happened for you?
So our relationship wasn't ever really healthy. I didn't know the meaning of respect or really what following God meant. I was saved but not living righteous whatsoever. Totally outside of God's will, besides being married. There was no respect in the home for one another at all. And I just felt like trapped in this little bubble, and I didn't know how to make anybody happy, and whatever. And then tragedy struck. My mother passed away, and it was really sudden, and I kind of just lost my mind. I was just like, whatever, started acting out and decided that this is how I want to live anymore. I just want to do whatever I want to do, and I abandoned ship. I picked up everything the day that he tried to commit suicide, and I left. I went back to Maryland. I was just like, he doesn't want to be alive anyway. He doesn't want to be a part of my life, so we're leaving. Me and the kids, we left Maryland. I pretty much lived in hell on earth. There is nothing like living outside of God's will and running from Him. It was the scariest time of my life. I felt like wanting to die every day. He's trying to get us back home, and then he turned his back on us. And the other person I had was my mother-in-law. She invited us back home, so we left all the garbage and came home. And it was funny because when she called, she's like, "We're seeing angel feathers," and I was like, "Well, you don't see those in hell," and it's really how it felt. And I came back and really started working on myself and surrendering everything to God, because I wanted my marriage more than anything in this world. And I realized that after living outside His will, and I fought hard and just prayed so hard for my husband to have a change of heart, and he did.
Yeah, it definitely did not come easy. During the time where she left, I kind of just felt like she just abandoned me, when I needed her the most, and it was really really hard. But at my ugliest hour, God sent someone who just prayed for me, and I got delivered from literally every demon that I was ever battled in my life. And He just prayed for me, and then everything just came out. And God just, in His still, small, quiet voice, He just said, "Are you done yet? Are you done?" And I'll never forget that. I was literally locked up again, and God said, "Are you done yet?" I was like, "I am done, wherever you need me." So then basically he said, "All right, well, I want you to go to Mexico." I was like, "All right, I don't speak Spanish, but let's go." We ended up going to Mexico. A week later, he has me preaching at a church in Mexico, and it was a trip because the week before I was locked up. And so it was just a crazy redemption story. Throughout that time, basically, he started working on Heather for about a couple months, and right about the time she finally turned around and came back, I was done. I was like, how could you, God, why you can't love her now? I'm done with her. I want something new. You know, like I just can't do this. Like she left me. It's tainted. No, like no, no, no. This is all her fault. And so then basically, I bounced around from relationship to relationship, trying to find what I had in my wife and all these other people, just to be disappointed and disappointed and disappointed, and just really just throwing everything I potentially had away in a family. My kids would have been without a dad. My wife would have been without a husband. It would have been horrible. And then I'll never forget it. This is about the maybe like fifth time makeup breakup after she got back, um, and finally like it all came to a head, and I was like, you know what? No, I'm done. I'm done. I just basically just drove off, went to the gym, and then God basically spoke to me there, and He's like, "Are you done yet?" And then I was like, "Oh shoot." I was like, yeah, I'm done. And I ended up calling her, and I was like, so would you still marry me or not?
And I, of course, said yes.
So you got divorced?
So yeah, we
were
ended
divorced for 9 days.
And then that's when God spoke to me, and He's like, are you done yet? And I called her, and she out of nowhere, she's like, all right, well, we're going to the courthouse today. I was like, oh shoot. And we got married, and it was that leap of faith that we took that changed everything. And now, in a couple months, we're gonna start a microsite in Hawaii.
And we've both learned that the grass is never greener.
No,
never greener. And
artificial.
And things have never been better. I feel like I'm married to a completely different man. Sometimes I look at him, I'm like, who is this guy? You know? Yeah. So it's really amazing. I'm inspired by his leadership, and I just want to be very submissive. For the first time in my life, I understand that word, and it's awesome to have somebody so strong that you can follow.
And I would have never in my wildest dreams would have thought that this would have been the person I'm marrying now, because we just weren't the same way. Like she was not submissive, and I couldn't lead to save my life. But just God did some miracles once we just finally just gave up and just let go and just ask for God's help to just really guide us and actually listen instead of just do our own thing. And man, like it's just just so much better once we just finally just lay your pride down and just submit. Like it's the hardest thing to do out of your pride, but it's literally the best thing that changed my life for sure. So God is good, and if it counts for anything, just ask Him for help.